Phil. We were going to record it, but let's do it live, which is interesting. So obviously no swearing and all that sort of stuff. Phil, it's nice to see you. I just really enjoyed talking to you over the last few days. It's been really nice to catch up. For people that don't know you, what's your thing? You wrote a book about arthritis, so obviously you had arthritis. What? Tell us a little bit more.
Stephen, yes, thank you for getting me on. I do enjoy chatting to you as well. We always chat for loads before we record these things, you
Yes.
know. Yeah, yeah. Well, my story is, I suppose, what I'm most known for is reversing psoriatic arthritis. But in short, I was very interested in diet and lifestyle from about the age of 18, which was a long time ago in 1980. And I got into all kinds of things, studying all the sort of macrobiotic stuff and vegetarianism through all the spiritual side of things. And I thought I really knew about it and wrote my first book in the mid 90s, which was really pushing plant based diets and Ayurveda and that kind of thing. Little did I realize back then that Ayurveda is not actually a vegetarian science. They say meat is the most nourishing thing for the body, like amrit, like nectar, but most of us don't know that about Ayurveda. Anyway, so through the 1980s and 90s, I got into vegetarianism and always felt a bit guilty that I wasn't going vegan because, of course, that was way healthier. And then ended up training a lot in the second half of the 90s and running a gym and got pretty big, but never got very lean. Um, and then I got rid of the gym and just went to pot really, just ate what I wanted. But it was still, I mean, I call any diet plant based, really, most of them, because sort of omnivorous or even a sad diet is plant based, right? They eat way more plants than they do meat. So, so through the 2000s, I ended up, a bit of a fat bastard. And in 2010, just got really, really crippled by psoriatic arthritis. And I'm a drummer as well, so that's the last thing you need. And I couldn't play really for about 3 years while I figured out how to fix it. And so I went through all the vegan phase and ended up going from a very fat dude to an emaciated skeleton. And still the joints were hurting. And I had kidney stones from the spinach smoothies. And so then I went to keto. I discovered Natasha Campbell McBride's work really, and that kind of pulled me out of it. And so by 2013, I was quite a lot better. And I think 2014, I wrote that book, Arthritis, the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me. And I was pretty much healed. The ice cream van's gone past making a racket.
Ice
Um,
cream. It always
I
makes
think
me think of Eddie Murphy. That.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Anyway,
mean, we're in Skelmersdale now. The ice cream vans sell heroin. They don't sell ice creams. But
be
anyway,
careful of the subjects. We are live on Twitter and YouTube. Probably be taken down now. But anyway,
no, we won't. Not for Skelmersdale ice cream van slander. Um, yeah, and then yeah, it ended up really, really crippled and got better in that time. Wrote that book, but then I just found that I felt a whole lot better on the days where I didn't cook any of my healthy veg with the fatty meat. And the turnaround really came about 2015. So I went fully carnivore, and I have been ever since. And yeah, I'm fine. And so that's the story really. And so now I've become really interested in that sort of thing and seeing people heal on this method, which is, going back to our ancestral diet, which is so spectacular. I've had I now consult with clients mostly with autoimmunity and metabolic issues, that kind of thing. But the healing that we see, and I know Stephen does as well, is just incredible. I mean, I work with people with diets on and off for like 40 years, and nothing has ever come even close to what happens when somebody goes fully carnivore. It's extraordinary.
it
So,
is.
so yeah, I love doing that now and organize live events in England and Spain and consult with people and do online courses, that kind of thing. My autoimmunity, the subtraction method course,
Yeah.
where I kind of got everything in there, I think, that was in the book and more. All the diet stuff and all the even the emotional balancing and spiritual side of healing as well, which I'm still very fascinated with.
Yeah, it's interesting because the holistic side, I've actually just done a rehab client, a face to face. I don't do that many. After COVID, that sort of part of my business, that face to face business shut down. and she couldn't move her arm. So like her shoulder went up, and you get some pain here. She couldn't get it any further. And I do the same thing. I've got loads of people on my YouTube channel, not on my carnivore one, but on the rehab one, where I've filmed the before and after. And I said, she said, 20 years I've been trying to fix this shoulder. And I said, yeah, because what you've just shown me, you've got a problem over here on the other shoulder. She was like, really? I said, well, I'll just prove the concept. So I did literally 2 minutes. I genuinely do 2 minutes of work on the other shoulder. And she did the arm thing. And it was like, oh, right, okay. And it's big. She said, oh, but I've seen so many physios and so many people, and why didn't they do that? And I said, because they are focused on the pain in the shoulder, and they don't look at the root cause. Uh, you know, as an advanced personal trainer, I got into all of the muscular workings and how it's all coordinated, and how you can have an injury over here, which affects you over the other side. She couldn't believe it. And she said, well, why don't they all know that? And I said, because they're not interested in it holistically. They're trained, a lot of the people, just to get rid of the pain, whether that's some sort of massage at the time, or steroid injection, or, medications. But the bottom line is they're not looking at the root cause. They're just getting you out of the way with a quick fix that doesn't actually get to the root of it. And I think that's the thing with arthritis as well, isn't it? It's just, well, you've got this, there's nothing we can do. They never talk about diet, for instance. I mean, I didn't have to talk to that lady about diet, because I knew a bit of a background, and it was actually, not worth doing that, because she wouldn't be open to it, which is really sad. But yeah, you mentioned about the festivals there. You sold one out in Spain. When's that one happening?
Oh, that's in November. We did one
Yeah.
last year in October with Anthony Chafee and Sophia Clements and Sarah Pugh and Richard speaking
Yeah.
at that one as well. And yeah, that was lovely.
Yeah.
So everybody enjoyed it so much. They were saying, "Let's come back." Even Anthony said, "We got to do this every year."
Mm.
And so I booked it for November this
Yeah.
year, and it sold out in February. So there we
That's
go. You
brilliant.
have to be quicker. But I'm actually thinking of one in March. I just got onto the venue today,
Hmm.
and we might be able to do another one in March. But yeah, that one's gone. But keep an eye on it. Just go to my website and get onto my Substack, and you'll always get messages about
Brilliant.
what's coming up. But the one that you're speaking at, well, you're speaking in Spain as well, aren't you? You're speaking in Spain as well. So that's great. I
Oh,
really wanted
yeah.
to get you there last year, but so yeah, we've got one in Rainford in August, 16th and 17th of August, and we did this one last year as well. And it's my events are always very informal. You've got a lot of time in between to hang out with other people, to hang out with the speakers, and that's what I like about them. They're very laid back. People tend to book again when they've been to them, because they make tons of friends. Um, yeah, this one is over 2 days. We've got speakers on the Saturday. We've got Lydia Olka, who is my friend and co-organizer, and she's got a wonderful story of going carnivore and reversing arthritis, reversing Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and she's also I mean, you've met Lydia, and she's real trim and looks great. She used to be 17 stone, and it's
Wow.
it's hard it's hard to imagine really that she was like that. Yeah, she's great. So she'll be speaking on the Saturday morning, and then I'll bore people with my story for a while. And then we've got David Unwin, who I've been wanting to get to one of our events. David Unwin is a GP in Southport, just down the road from me, and he's great because he's gone against the whole system, and he in his practice he's offering people low carb advice for reversing diabetes and all sorts. But he's having tremendous success with that, and I don't suppose the medical profession like him very much. But he's great. Yeah, David's wonderful. So I've been dying to get him to speak there, so you can come and hang out with him because his missus, Jen, who is another marvelous doctor there. They're both GPs, and Jen is will be speaking after the lunch break or break. You can get food whenever you like, but there will be a workshop with now. Which way round is it? I think we've got the yeah. Janice Cameron, she's great. She's proper character and does breath work. And everybody last time came back really spaced out from her workshop there. But yeah, so Jen told me this morning that they'll be staying over the Friday and Saturday nights in their camper van. So there'll be lots of time to hang out with David and Jen. And Jen will be speaking after lunch. She's absolutely brilliant too. She'll be probably, I would think, speaking about food addictions and stuff. That seems to be her speciality.
Yeah.
But they're great. And yeah, then after that, yes,
Hmm.
this is Janice. She's great. She's yeah, proper character. She really is. But absolutely brilliant at what she does. And then after Jen, who have we got? Oh, we got Nikita. Nikita's amazing. She is she's the founder of When Push Comes to Shove. That's a biggest like natural birth and doula training um, organization. But honestly, Nikita, you really don't want to miss her. She's hilarious. She's absolutely brilliant. She is speaking, a very important subject here. I think that health starts before birth. With the mother and what they do, everything to do with that, and then all the proper crimes of the obstetrics, the medical of the birthing kind of thing that you go through in hospital. Absolutely horrific. But I met Nikita at I play in this band called the Daz Band, and we were playing one of these sort of freedom rallies or festivals, and Nikita was there speaking, and she was so funny and so engaging that I thought I've just got to get her on our podcast back then that we had the Human Unleashed thing, and she was amazing, and then she was also supporting us. She had some backing tracks and was singing, and if you can find her song "We Will Breathe Again" on YouTube, it's absolutely beautiful. And we played that last year with her. We just kind of I got all these musicians to just go learn it. We just played it with no rehearsal, and she's such a pro. She's a great singer, and so we played that. Might well do that again this year, a few songs with Nikita. But yeah, if you've been born, or if you know anyone who's pregnant, have a listen to what Nikita says. It's fascinating. Also into all the trauma release stuff as well. She's great. But yeah, and then in the evening we probably have some music with Nikita, and then the Daz Band will play. So I'll be playing a full set with the Daz Band, and we've been headlining these freedom festivals around the country, and it's been a lot of fun these past few years doing that. So it's a bit of a naughty band. It's a bit of a bit of a tinfoil hatter conspiracy theorist stuff, but I think all these things are coming true these days. And Darren is an amazing character who runs the band. He also runs the Light Paper, which has a great circulation in England now.
Yeah.
Incredible what he's done with that. So
What about
yeah,
Sunday? Who's speaking on Sunday?
yeah, okay. Who have we got on Sunday? Well, first of all, on the Sunday, we've got Richard Smith. Yay! So he's speaking first, and we all know how brilliant he is and what an incredible healing story he's got as well. So yeah, Richard will be there, and he always likes to go on early. Richard does, doesn't he? So that he
Yes.
can hang out and listen. He always says that to me. Can I speak early? But but yeah, absolutely brilliant. And he's so eloquent, and he goes on so long. If he finishes before 6 o'clock in the evening, then we might have some other speakers. And the next one will be you. So
Ah,
I got the English dudes on the Sunday morning. So if you want to understand all the sort of proper biochemistry and science behind all of this, come and have a listen to these two brilliant guys, because they're way ahead of me on that. And there he is showing off his bicep as usual. But yeah, I just their talks, I just get really mesmerized by them, because they just know so much more than me about the whole science stuff. So if you want it proved, and you don't you think that people just waffling, it's just n=1 stories, it's absolutely not. So this festival is not that, like the Spanish festival is really for people who are established carnivores all over the world, who've got a bit of money and want to come hang out with their heroes. This one in Rainford is a different thing. It's really aimed at people who don't know so much about it, but really want to go and have enormous amounts of knowledge. The sort of knowledge that probably took me or Stephen or Richard years and years and years of wrong turns.
Mm.
and you'll get this knowledge on all sorts of different levels in one weekend. So
Yes.
please come along. So if you know anyone who's pregnant, if you've been born, if you've got slightly too much fat on you that you'd like to get rid of, if you've got any kind of metabolic or autoimmune issue, or if you're just interested in the sort of ancestral wisdom and how to live more like our ancestors without having to go and live in a cave, if you come into any of those categories, which is probably everybody, come along.
Mm. You can buy day tickets as well, but you've got a couple of other speakers that I'd love you
Yeah,
to
yeah,
talk
we
about.
have, yes. So next, um, yeah, yeah, you've done it the right way around there because it's the wrong way around on mine. But
Okay.
just to in between that, so we've got my good friend Roger Davis, who will be doing a natural movement workshop at the sort of break there where there's no there's no talks going on, and I've known him for ages. He's absolutely brilliant, great healing story himself as well. But now he's wonderful at that kind of thing. So
Well, that's important. Movement is important. Motion is lotion. That's what I say. If you've got
totally, totally.
joint problems, nothing is better than actually trying to move them. All this stuff about, I mean, going back to my rehab, because that's way back what I used to do. I used to fix people basically, and I had about 250 great reviews on Facebook because the clinic I was at was really big in the Facebook world, and they gave me a hashtag which was Jesus in a tracksuit, which is why I've worn the tracksuit today, because people go into the clinic and they'd go in with like a stiff neck or whatever. Oh, I've been to the doctor, I can't move it, and then they'd come out like this, woohoo, 20 minutes
Yeah.
later. It didn't sit well with me, but I understood the humour of it, the hashtag. But
No, but I tell you what, last year Richard had somebody on the ground on the grass wrestling with him, and he still goes on about how he fixed his back in one
that
hit.
was me. That was me. It wasn't Richard.
Sorry, sorry, it was. It was Stephen. I'm trying to juggle all the speakers in my head. Of course, yes, it's Stephen. He's the man. But absolutely fixed him.
He was in
It was
tears
fun.
actually the next day, saying, I can't believe it. I can breathe at last." And it
Yeah,
literally took. Uh, this sounds like I'm bragging. It isn't. What happened? It took about 10 minutes to do it right and get him to breathe, and he had years and years of agony.
it
Yeah.
was fantastic. And on my YouTube channel, Phil Escott YouTube channel. There's testimonials from last year from the event last year,
Hmm.
and that guy's one of them. And he's talking about that. And he's also there wearing a Daz Band T-shirt. So that was cool.
That was really good. And then you've got, if you want to be dazzled with knowledge, I think you've also got this person, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but we haven't talked about Natasha yet because she's on after
Oh, right.
lunch.
Hang on. Let's do
And
that then.
yeah, I mean Natasha Campbell McBride's work I think is extraordinary, and her GAPS diet is sort of world famous, helped millions of people, and her book, The Gut and Psychology Syndrome. And unfortunately, although Natasha will be in Spain, she won't be at the junction, but she'll be there on Zoom, and she honestly she's so engaging. She gives the most amazing talks, and there's a lot more than diet to Natasha. She goes into all the spiritual stuff, and I just love her talks. If anyone's listening to this now, I've had her on my Red Pill Buddhas podcast, but she's also just done a recent one, a long chat with Anthony Chafee on his podcast. So if you want to come down, listen to her, and also have opportunity to ask her questions, she'll be on Zoom. But Natasha, absolutely love her. Incredible. She really is. Proper hero.
And yeah, we'll go back to Sarah then, because Sarah's the
Yeah.
last one to talk about, I think. All right. When is Sarah on? Is she Sunday or?
Sarah's on, yeah, Sarah's on after Natasha on Sunday. She'll be closing up the event. Only reason I put Natasha on after lunch is because you always have technical problems with Zoom, right? And so I thought I want a long break to make sure it's going to work. So
Yes, that's true.
So Sarah. I mean, Sarah is one of my favorite people. Unbelievably knowledgeable on all the quantum biology stuff. If you don't understand what that is, it's really sort of light, water, and magnetism and how it affects us. That
Yeah.
sounds a bit kind of out there and a bit boring, but Sarah's never boring. She is. It's really about light and EMFs and circadian health and how this affects your hormone production all the functions of the body. Light is often ignored, really. So the stuff that she'll go into is incredible. She does wonderful talks as well on how the heart isn't a pump, and so many other things. She's absolutely fascinating. Also great to meet her. You should come and hang out with her because she's absolutely lovely and very hilarious actually behind the scenes. Is Sarah. She's got a marvelous sense of humor.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then that'll close up. And then in the evening,
Hmm.
if I can organize it, which I was going to do, which I did last year, is I love monster guitarists. And so all the kit will be set up, all the music stuff and all the PA. So I'm going to invite some people along for a big long jam and do various songs and extend them away with some of the most wonderful guitar soloists you'll ever see, including my friend Matt McGrory, who's played with Jules Holland and all kinds of people, and Siraj from the Daz Band, who is incredible, and a couple of other people up my sleeve. So we'll see. But anyway, all through this, and in the evenings, there you cook meat on beautiful fire pits, huge great ones that we had made last year for the festival,
Hmm.
and there's camping as well. So that's the thing. If you there'll be there's a lot of land out the back there. You can camp. We also have glamping tents. Now, people, come and book them. We've not booked enough of those. It's proper luxury. If you don't really want to camp, if you don't want to set up your tent and take it down, come and book one of the glamping pods. And there'll be stalls. There'll be anyway. If you go to ancestralhealthfestival.com, Stephen will put it underneath. But if you go there, you'll see everything we've got. You can book there. You can see who's on which day, and you can choose your tickets and see what else is going on. We've got the what are they called? Anyway, we're coming along and doing cold water therapy as well. It's the Ice
Yes.
Tribe, I believe they're called.
Let's
It's
have a
the
look.
Ice something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
think.
they're we.
Yeah.
But it's the thing is that we only put the cold therapy on. I was going to put the actual people who are doing it with a link to book today,
Well, they are.
which Lydia was organising. But yeah, and there'll be
Well,
food there. There'll be good carnivore food and all sorts. And you can, if you get fed up in the evening, you can even nip into the pub there, and which it's on the land of my good friend who I played loads of gigs with, who's got a wonderful pub there, and great food in there. He's very aware of all the carnivore and keto stuff, and there'll be bands on in there. So there's tons to do. Great store. We got the Real Food Company back as well, selling stuff, and Rachel Ashby will be there too with her Tallow Glow products.
oh yes, carnivore fitness. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
There'll be a lot
Well,
of people you've probably seen, on various channels, mine or Stevens, or there'll be some good people to hang out with, definitely.
yeah. Now we've got some questions actually. I've worked out how to do this. I'm sorry. What's the book name again on Amazon? Thank you. So, what was your book called?
Oh, it's called Arthritis: The Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me. It's called.
It's called that, right? Okay. So I've got my book here, so I'm going to show that as well. The Guide to Blood Tests in the Context of Low Carb, Keto, and Carnivore is a good read as well. But yeah,
Very,
your arthritis
very
book
useful.
is very funny actually, which is quite good. Um, we weren't really doing this to give advice, but there's people here. After switching from a 30-year vegan to keto carny, I dropped 30 pounds in 5 months. But since then, I've hit a wall, and blood glucose won't go below 125 milligrams per deciliter. Any advice? Well, it will,
I
but
think it
also
says, doesn't it say 1.5 months there?
1.5 months. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's still early days. I was going to actually just say, just be patient because um, it will lower, but actually 125 milligrams per deciliter isn't very much. You need about 100 or you can go from 60 to 100 quite easily. It doesn't really matter. But if we look at what your blood is supposed to have, it's about a teaspoon of sugar in about 5 litres of blood. And the reason I'm saying about is not because I don't know, it's because we're all different sizes. And your concentration of blood glucose is down to your size, your activity, how fat adapted you are, how strict you are with your diet, all those sort of things. So 125 milligrams per deciliter is not that much. It's about a teaspoon and a 1/25th of a teaspoon extra. It's not a lot when you think about 5 litres of blood. So don't sweat over it too much. But the longer you do this, probably the lower it will go. So I would just be a little bit patient. I'm not a doctor. This person here has said, "Hi, Dr. Stephen. I'm not a doctor. Never claimed to be. This is not medical advice. About 5.5 months into keto, and my severe OCD intrusive thoughts gotten a lot worse, and I don't know what else to do. Any advice? No dairy except butter. Did lion for the first 30 days. Didn't feel good either, and now I feel upset because I've ended up having a bowl of vegetables with olive oil and broke the carnivore streak 5.5 months. I think one of the things is when you're looking at carnivore, uh, you're looking at many people not having enough fish. And EPA and DHA are the essential omega 3s, the fats that you need for your brain health. So maybe it would be something you might be improved by um, doing that. We can't give you medical advice, but just as information, we find most people that have mental clarity or improvements in their mental clarity tend to include fish in their diet, actually. It doesn't mean you have to have fish every day, but it does help. If you don't like fish or you're allergic to fish, you can even go into some of these sort of fish oils, but it is better to get it from fish. Did you want to add anything, Phil?
No, not really. I think you've covered everything there. Yeah,
Okay, all
cool.
right. I mean, this was just an impromptu live because we were chatting and we thought, well, we might as well just go on. Belly fat is another one here. Stacey's saying about belly fat. I mean, losing belly fat, that can be the last sort of 5 pounds. I have definitely coached people that have had those sort of problems. You can do therapeutic fasting. You could look at your meal frequency. You can look at the amount of food you're eating at each sitting. When you eat, some people thrive on eating late at night. Some people thrive by skipping breakfast. I think it's a difficult one, Stacey, but there's lots of levers you can pull to steal from Richard's phrase book.
Dairy?
Yeah, well, yeah, dairy. Getting rid of dairy is always a good one. If you're including any dairy, I would actually remove that and see if that helps. I would expect that it would really help you, to be honest. Um, yes, and there's some really nice sort of to and throwing in the chat there, which is great. I think the carnivore community is exactly that. It's a common unity. We all try to help each other. Um, but anyway, on Jonathan's popped in and said, "Good, well done on the bodybuilding show recently, Jonathan." Let me talk each guys who told me that. Anyway, I don't really understand that. And then we put a link to the ancestral health in there, so we're doing good. Glamping pods, is that what he
Yeah.
said?
Yeah, I
Is
saw that. I saw that comment. Well, yeah, just really nice posh tents with beds in that
yeah.
that you can rent for the duration. So you can see pictures of them on the event page. Very luxurious. That's what I'd do, I think, if I came along, because I'm pretty lazy these days.
Well, Juliet, we look forward to seeing you. It's one of those contraction things where you get the word glamour and you get the word camping and you end up with glamping. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
well, that's really nice. Hello, first time on a live stream. First time on your live stream, Dolly. That's very good. Thank you for coming on. That's very good. Juliet here. After 3 very good HbA1cs, my NHS nurse tells me that I am cured of type 2 diabetes. Is this the accepted policy in the NHS now? Well, uh, yes. If you're they do use HbA1c, which actually is quite an unreliable marker, but it's worked for you and that's fine. In the mainstream, if it's high, that's not my dog barking, by the way. Um, I think, yes, what is diabetes? What is type 2 diabetes? It's chronically elevated blood glucose levels. So if you don't have chronically elevated blood glucose levels, you're not diabetic anymore. Uh, And then we've got Dolly just saying she quit coffee after listening to you both. It was not easy, but you're better off. And that's why we do this. So I think we've got to the end of the chat. I think. Oh no, hang on. I think we have. And it's actually got to 5 o'clock. And I know you've got to go off, haven't you? I have. I've got to go off at 5.
Yeah, I could do with legging it. I've got to cook for the kids
Thanks.
and stuff.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. I hope everyone enjoyed this very impromptu live. And I'll put a link in the description when I've when I worked out how to do it from here, and hopefully see you at the event.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for getting me on to chat about it, Stephen.
That's okay.